Welcome back. Let's take a moment to examine one of the constitutional amendments on the ballot, Amendment 4. Amendment 4 requires all proposed amendments or revisions to the state constitution to be approved by the voters in 2 elections instead of 1. And of course, each time it would need to garner at least 60% of the vote. And this would make it incredibly difficult for ordinary citizens to make any future changes to the state's constitution. The amendment is being pushed by a mysterious political action committee called Keep Our Constitution Clean. The group has pumped at least $9 million, and there is strong indications that this effort is being secretly bankrolled by large and powerful business interests in the state that want to make it as hard as possible for the people's voice to be heard. As the Orlando Sentinel recently wrote in their editorial urging voters to vote no, welcome back to the shadowy world of dark money. The plan here is to use Florida's awful campaign finance laws to hide who is bankrolling this latest insult to the voters as long as possible. Now, I wanted to have someone from Keep Our Constitution Clean on the show today, but no one from the group would return my calls.
It's a huge, intense, labor-intensive and costly exercise to get something on the ballot. And to say they have to do it twice is a cruel sort of constitutional Mr. Miyagi. I mean, you got to paint both sides of the fences now.
Jason Pizzo is a Democratic state senator from Miami-Dade County.
You know, publicly, we haven't heard a lot of specifics or from specific people on the motivation behind it. But what you hear sort of anecdotally is, oh, it's too easy to change our state constitution, which we're on our 6th state constitution, I think. And there's been a number of amendments. I think there's been up to 170 amendments. But that's part of the beauty that we live in a sort of fluid nature. And the argument that it's just too easy to make changes, I have a counter argument. The way that this is propped up and proposed right now, if it does successfully get through one general election with 60% or more of the vote, it's so cost prohibitive for most groups or most individuals and organizations to try to double up these efforts for the following election. It actually narrows the scope and the window of the sort of pool of people that would be eligible to play in this. And then it becomes really what everyone says they're trying to prevent, which is, too easy of manipulation. You can have far left billionaires and far right billionaires play in that second race, and that's what concerns me.
It seems like the impression is that it's the number of large businesses in Florida who are afraid if the people sort of can get their way through constitutional amendments, particularly the state utilities and large business groups. Have you been hearing that same sort of talk? You said you're not clear as to what the motivation might be, but knowing the outcome of what this would do, what do you think the motivation is?
I think it has as many social implications as it does, sort of economic or corporate as far as motivation, more of ideology and philosophy as much as it does economic. I understand and appreciate that watching the flow of funds into some of these PACs and, some limited reporting or research that's been available on it does include corporations. But again, we're a Republican-controlled, as executive, Republican-controlled judicial, and a Republican-controlled legislative branch in the House and the Senate. And if the idea is, I think constitutional changes should only be, left to the legislature, and if the people actually get a vote and get to decide, they have to do it twice. It's a weird perversion of direct democracy. I mean, it's really what it is. It's something we're actually giving the popular vote to. Through one election. And I think you do. I am more concerned about, you'll have the left complaining that the Koch brothers were involved in something, and you'll have the right complaining that George Soros is involved in something. And if a bill or, an amendment is successful through one election, then it's like a scurry for those very small number of people with a lot of money and influence to control the outcome of the following election.
In the next half hour, we will look at the controversy surrounding Amendment 3, which would open up Florida's primary system. And you can find out more about all the constitutional amendments on our website, cbsmiami.com. We'll be right back.